heading south this morning from Beaver Creek. That's southeast, I would think. Yep. No one else coming this way. Seen a couple of bikes going northbound, had a chat with a couple of them, which was nice. Just to hear everybody's plans and people asking about road conditions, stuff like that. And honestly, other than mud up north and all the rain, just looking out for potholes and bits of gravel on the road, maybe. It's the main things. I had forgotten about this on the way into Beaver Creek. The sign does warn you that this continues for about 16 kilometers, but yeah, it's just gravel after gravel after gravel, and just when you think you're done with it, more will show up. Even getting out of the rest stop, you should be a little careful. So the sign says 16 kilometers on and off gravel. You've gone 19 miles, so I can definitely tell you that it's a bit more than that. And it's in these little sort of quarter-mile sections where it's fine for a bit, then you hit a little bit of gravel or a longer stretch. The longest would be half a mile, maybe. Only a couple of times has it felt slippery. You know, it's been a little thicker, but for the most part it's easy. Just slow down, drop a gear, stand up. Here, for example. A bit more rocks in this one. And once in a while it gets a little washboardy, so you just have to try and pick the cleanest line you can. This isn't bad. So we're headed towards Haines Junction, which is the turnoff that goes south back into the smaller part of Alaska. But this is even more remote than the first section on the American side. At least they have a few campgrounds and some structures, something. This is just the road, the forest, the mountains. That's it. I think this is where you might be in the most sort of danger of making small mistakes. When you're on the return leg, you maybe feel inclined to go a bit faster than you did on the way up, and you're tired and the road is in pretty poor shape. This would be, to me, the section where you need to pay attention, you need to take your time. Right, we're back to this stuff again. Gravel washboard. Thicker section in places. Stunning view. Just trying to concentrate a little bit on this and stay to the thinner stuff. Yeah, so first sign said gravel sections next 16 kilometers. 16 kilometers later, there's another sign that says gravel sections 12 kilometers. Why didn't they just write 28 in the first place? It seems like that would be simpler and require less signs. Oh, this guy's flying. GS's. Went for a pass on that motorhome. Not in the best of places. The road condition on my side was pretty poor. Hit a few bumps, and then the bike seemed to rev with no drive. Almost felt like something was hitting my foot. So I don't. The sprocket can't be worn down already. I think the chain is loose, but for a minute I was worried the chain had come off and the rear would just lock up. Right now we have drive. I need to figure out what that was. I don't know if Did I go for a gear change and just hook the clutch too much, just not let go of it? Bit worrying. Unlike the haul road, the truckers here are really lining up behind me to pass me. I'm doing just under the speed limit. I've let 2 of them by. We've got the 3rd one coming, and it is getting windy. Here, they're in even more of a hurry, I think. Yeah, and it's definitely all trucks, it's not the motorhomes. They're all having to slow down on the gravel and the bumps, whereas these trucks are just going for it. Right, flat out 6, and we can just maintain our speed on this hill. It's a matter of figuring out where this guy wants to pass and just giving him room, slowing down. So after about 75 miles, the condition of the road does improve. This section is actually pretty good. We're at 97 miles in. There still are potholes to be avoided. We still have a little gravel turn up, but overall it's much improved from the earlier section. Showing about 86 miles to go towards Haines Junction. Alright, we should be heading towards Destruction Bay in front of us. 2,600 feet. Does feel like a bit more, but cold air blowing. Right, okay, Cluan Energy. Fuel up ahead. So this is Burwash Landing. I think they told me there's more fuel 15 kilometers down the road. So we don't have to worry too much about that for now. The additional layer, it's making a difference already. I'm already so much happier. Oh, heated grips back on. I guess we get to Destruction Bay before long. And I don't think it's going to be any warmer in Destruction Bay than it is here. While I stopped to put on an extra layer and rearrange the clothing, I was actually leaning slightly against the right hand side of the bike because the wind just back in the car park at the fuel station was that strong that the bike was, I don't think it was in danger of tipping over, but it was certainly moving around. So just as a precaution, I stood out to the back on the right hand side, just kind of put a little weight against the bag. Alright, we seem to be filling it up at all the same stations that we used before. I remember this station was a bit of a godsend actually at the time. I gotta do some yoga classes or something. How windy it is, even the pump is moving. It's a beautiful area, pretty imposing. I'm curious why I haven't ever seen any bolts over here. Now that I've said that, we'll see one in the next 5 minutes. But yeah, there's no activity here. I'm going to keep an eye out and see if there's signs for a boat ramp or anything, but yeah, nobody on the water. Next 1 kilometer, high sheep activity. Well, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen an animal. That might not be the one I picked, but alright. We're on sheep watch, nothing so far. Still windy, but we're getting a little shelter in this end of the bay. Crosswind next area 2 kilometers. Right. Old wood cabins. Yep, sidewind from the right. See the dust up ahead, how it's moving. Yep. Right, obviously my neck is correcting for the angle of the lean, so you're not going to see on camera, I guess, how much it's pushing us. It's a fair amount. We've had worse, but it's a fairly constant wind. That's one thing going for it. Right, so this is sand that we're passing through. Bunch of little patches of sand on the road. Alright, I think we're through the worst of that. It's quite fun, really. It occurs to me that this bike has not failed me in any way. There's been days that have been harder than others, for sure. The failure is with me thinking of this as a mini adventure bike. The failure is in what I've been asking it to do sometimes, which is push on in headwinds, sidewinds, try and do high speeds. This is a trail bike. It's a trail bike with a bigger tank than most, a decent range. It's reasonably comfortable. Got a Mercedes Sprinter right on us. So the failure, I think, with this bike is not the bike, it's me. And what I expect of it. Thinking a 300cc bike can be an all-round, all-season, all-condition machine. And really nothing can do that. Where I was supremely pleased to have this bike here is on the way down from Coldfoot, when the road was still wet, but the sun was coming out, visibility was good, and it just floated over everything. You know, no stress. Whereas on a GS Adventure with full tanks, I wouldn't do that road. I think, you know, maybe a 650, 700 is the ideal all-round bike for this whole trip. Doing it on the 300, I don't know if I've pushed it a little hard. Well, I have pushed it a little hard at times, I think. And that's not the fault of the bike. Put this bike on a gravel path or on a trail or in a relatively easy forest trail, it would excel. But yeah, this is not a miniature adventure bike. I would say you could have an adventure on a child's scooter. On anything, it's what you make of it, you know, but 50 to 55, that's where we're comfortable, to be honest. I mean, yeah, plenty of people will tell you this bike can go on the highway. It can, it's just no fun. And if I were commuting every day, this is not the bike I would have. I'd be looking more in the 600-700cc range. Too often on my journeys, 2/3 of the time is spent getting somewhere, and then 1/3 of the time is spent rushing to get back home. Either because, you know, the journeys have been quite long, or we're getting close to the end of the budget. This time, I don't want to feel like I'm doing that. Rushing and missing things. We're going to be returning on a different route. At least after we get to Washington. I think if we can get on the boat, having those 3 days, I don't know how much sleep we're going to get. Having those 3 days off the bike is going to be quite refreshing now, I think. And also a different view away from this greenery. We'll be out in the ocean. So I'm hoping it all comes together. Nothing I can do about it now. I have the absolute ultimate luxury of not really being on a timetable. And that means that I'm not fixed to, you know, we've seen weather changes things, fire changes things, so gravel hopefully doesn't change things. So it's nice to cut a day short sometimes, or to finish early, and you know, there's always something to do, something to fix, you know. But yeah, I've been cold today. I don't want to be rained on. And I've got the luxury of that not having to happen. So, pretty thankful for that. Here we are, Haines Junction. Let's just check it out. So we got a little motel. Yes. And the rest of the town is down the hill. You can see on the map here, the grid system. Just topped off the tank so we don't have to do it tomorrow at the fast gas at Haines Junction. And the German lady behind the till recommended somewhere to stay down here, 2 blocks down on the right. Restaurant and hotel. I think this is what she meant. I'm not seeing a business name other than motel. She says something about Lucky Dragon. Motel, office and restaurant. Okay. So this is the restaurant, Lucky Dragon Restaurant. Okay. It says open.
Keep removing the key from the bike. I mean, it's insured. If someone steals this thing, I've just got a more interesting way to get home.
Right, so we have a room at the Lucky Dragon, 140 Canadian. You check in at the Chinese restaurant. Oh, it's a weird noise. And no ID required. Just tell them your first name. Alright, this is us here.
Now, a lot of places in this town were booked up, so I'm not expecting much, but I was kind of impressed in a pretty retro way.
I think this will do. It's too windy to put the cover on. I think that might be asking for problems. So we'll leave it uncovered, and even if it rains, it'll clean a little dirt off.
I was impressed with the view. Hanging baskets, check. Individual chairs, check. Paint cans for ashtrays, check. Now I had a little time to myself. I could go explore. And I happened upon the most well-stocked supermarket I ever thought I'd find around here. And the most Canadian thing, ketchup-flavored chips. Of course I bought some. Something happened in the news, but because it's Canada, they changed the channel to the soccer within 30 seconds. And my cheap Chinese meal was pretty good. Next up, we'll find the ocean, we'll find pizza, make a new friend. Not that one.